The holds and sells edition for round 11. We've got some clear guys to sell. If you haven't followed with the news, we've got that with Nicholson, unfortunately out for a long time. Couchman, you could potentially hold. Depends how many you got out. Isaiah Yeo, Greg Marzu's the big sell with him being out 4+ weeks. Yeo and Cleary missed a couple in a row. So that's something to note as well. And then we have a few interesting, potentially middle ground holds. Like if you've got guys like Hubner at 4.31. I wanted to mention Katonga and Iongi as well. Like they're probably more of a conversation around it for next week. But like some people are overstimulated, let's say, for round 12. They might have sort of 13 or 14 available. And you want to make an upgrade down in center or wing fullback or edge. Let's just say you had Katonga in that spot, but you feel like you want to upgrade him, use the cash that you have in your bank or from selling Yeo or Cleary or Nicholson or whatever you got, Couchman, and you've got 300 or 400k and you want to get into a gun. I completely understand it. You coming off a 55 Katonga with a break even of mid 20s now. He is in a spot where you can clearly hold, you can play him in round 12, but if you're in a position where you want to get someone better, like if you want to trade him to Farnworth or Lucas or something like that, then I think you can do it because he misses 15 and 18 anyway. You're probably only holding through round 12 and then, against the Penrith team or the Doggies team or something like that, you're like, well, you're up at 500k. I'm ready to move you on to another prospect that helps me out in round 15. They're the types of things you can look at there. And that's why I wanted to bring him up this week. Or, Iongi, same thing. He plays round 12, but do you want to have a better scorer? Now, you could wait. Maybe it's not this week that you trade out someone like Iongi with, again, a lower break even after the good score last week. Definitely, if we're just looking at break evens and potential to have a good couple of scores in a row coming up against Newcastle and Manly there with DCE out, then, you look at it as a straight up sell and it's probably a no. But if you do want to upgrade and you think that in round 12, they might not score super well, then that's when you can make that move on guys like this, where he himself, Iongi, only has 2 scores over 50 and has lots of 20s and 2 scores under 20 with 17 and 18. Now, if Moses is playing Origin as well, maybe you don't want him in your side in round 12 either because he doesn't have that quality half to help him out. So that's where him or Katonga could be players that you do look at as potential sells. Now, if we're choosing between the two and you're picking one of them, like I own both, then I do think Iongi would be the sell before Kitioni Katonga would be in this scenario here. At that really nice price point, at 468 with cash to make here if he comes out and scores somewhat well, near the 40 or 40 plus, similar with Iongi this week, but we know he has the greater volatility. Now, Nicholson, you have to sell. 679k, there's lots of guys you can go to. Please go out and check out the round 11 best buys video that that lovely long video I do every week. Go check that one out. You have all of the best options. It goes through from hookers all the way through down to wing fullback there. Usually I'm looking at to the top traded in guys, and then we go to some more pods as we go down the line for each section as well. So Nicholson, unfortunately, did a great job for us, a clear sell this week. Couchman, I think there's a little bit more to think about with him. I personally have 5 big dogs out, right? With the 2 Panthers guys and the 3 injuries with the 2 we just said and Marzu. So I'm potentially looking at holding Couchman because round 15 and round 18, mids is pretty tough because you're still likely holding on to May or Payne Haas if you've got Yeo. They're all going to miss those weeks. And that's where having Couchman, who is averaging 57, even with the injury game, you take out that injury game, and he's absolutely flying this year in the high 50s there, which is incredible. 61.4 taking out that injury game, and that's with a couple of games off the bench as well. So you're probably going to want him as a scorer. He'd be a really good, potential VC or captaincy option in those weeks. So that's where holding him through to around 14 could be the play. He's missing 1 round anyway. This week you can probably cover him. It's really just at round 13, which again, you can cover him if we have those guys like May, like Haas back up, which I think a few of them will. If you're buying, a couple of round 12 mids, then unless they're like, King, AFB, McInnes, most of them are going to back up. and you'd be able to cover that mid position for Couchman. So that's where I look at it and go, it's a bit of a, he's going to miss one game anyway. You could probably hold for the other two if you want. But hey, if you don't have many injuries, I would definitely use his cash to get to Tarpanay. I would use his cash to get to move to Hosking or to Kraz or to Teddy or to Farnworth or to Lucas, all these types of guys. Definitely. If you didn't really cop any of the injuries, and if you don't have Yo, you're just sitting with like Couchman and Cleary, then it's definitely a decision to make. Now, Yo, with the mid section, there's a lot of guys there, right? So if you're holding all of the Origin players in mid, what happens in round 13 and in round 13 there where you can only play the 3 mids? It's the exact same as 12. You get your 13 scorers in the starting side. Round 13 is the exact same. So you probably have 18, 19, 20 or 21 available for round 13. Isaiah Yo, does he make the side, or is one of your other better mids miss the side going into that week? So that's where I think he's an easier sell, and someone like Cleary is an easier hold just with that situation. And Cleary's gone up to 870 really quickly on the back of a few big scores. Yo's at a solid price. He has lost some cash this year and his price point, but all in all, he's done a good job. He's just had the one poor game, a couple of 50s in there in round 8 and 9, but back to some of his best last week. So up and down, hasn't scored. He's not averaging 65 or more, which May and Hasser misses a couple of games here. Looks like him and Cleary will miss 15, 18, and then 16. They won't go and back up in Warrior Land in New Zealand as well. So that's where Yo being a sell works out well. Now, Greg, a little bit too long to hold for someone that's not a top tier keeper. He is averaging 48, but he's not a top tier guy. So with him missing 4+ weeks, he is an easy sell and an unfortunate sell at that. Cleary, we kind of spoke about him in conjunction with Yo, but with him, you take out that lower score for this year. 1 second. And he's averaging 70, which is great. He's scoring exactly how you'd want. He's at a price point that is pretty well exactly where he started at. And recently, the last 5 rounds, he's averaging well above that mark and averaging 70 for the year, which priced at 65, he was about 66. He's scoring better than where he's priced at, which is awesome. And in a position that's a little bit harder to get really good scores compared to that of mid, that's where he could become a hold. But he also misses 11, 12, backs up for 13 maybe. Probably will, given he'll miss 15, 16 it looks like going to New Zealand, and then 18 as well, and has to back up against Para again on the backup. That's wild how that works out sometimes. But yeah, that's what you can do with Cleary. Either way, a hold or a sell is fine. Now, the Hubman, 431k, averaging 37, priced at 32, and the last couple of weeks there, since he missed with the concussion, he's dropped minutes a little bit. 39 into 46. Last week, the missed tackles is the annoying part. Like, if he's missing 4, you need him to be making near 40. Like we saw up here, could get him in the 40s pretty comfortably. Now, with Hub, he's not a clear sell, but if you don't have many other big dogs to move on from, Hubner can be the move. Has the bye next week, and then he does play 15 and 18. But in those weeks, are you going to be wanting to play him? Or will it get to that point and he actually just sits on your bench anyway? That's probably the question. If you think that's the case, then I think you sell this week, or holding's fine and moving on next week. That's also good. So Katonga, up to you. If you need him in one of those positions, or if you want to hold one more week, even if you weren't going to play him, see if there's an injury, and if there's an injury in that one of those spots, then you can plug him in comfortably. Yongi, a similar sitch. Now Ponga, every week, is he a buy, is he a hold, is he a sell? It's literally all three, which is crazy. So 514k, priced at 38, it's just wild how low he is. So you only need him to score a 38 right now to break even, to score similar to, if you've got someone at a 60 price point right now to hit a 60, like we're at that level where it's like just hoping that he can get 40, and it's not looking likely right now. He has 222s in his last 3 games, and yes, scored well in round 9. He's up against Para this week, so there's definitely an opportunity to score well. But last week, he didn't look like it. Really, it's only been round 9 since round 2 that he actually looked likely of scoring any decent fantasy points. So selling's fine, holding's fine. People are looking to get in a wing fullback this week. So, I'd trust him over Yongi, definitely. But yeah, he's probably more in the hold category this week, but you're probably selling the following week. The break even is not too crazy, but if he gets 20 again, then like it's definitely marred your season. Unfortunately, holding Ponga, and it's absolutely killed my Supercoach season. Having him and not selling him to like Drinky and Teddy. So yeah, I feel you on that front. I'm glad I did sell him in fantasy, and someone said, what did I say? Quit your whining. You sold Ponga in round 4. And yes, I did. Held Watson. He only went okay anyway after that. But yeah, Ponga, hold, sell, fine. Personal choice. I'm seeing Horsburgh on the sell list. That's a mistake, I think. You know, he didn't. It's not like he scored really low last week. He went 43 before the concussion. And if he can go back to 50 minutes this week, we know he can score in the 50s and he won't lose any price and will just be a good scorer this week for you against the Titans. So I think if you've got Horse this week, he's a great hold. He'll be in your starting 17 very easily, and it stops you playing one of those other guys. And surely you could sell a Cleary or a Yo or one of those 3 injured guys or Hubner before Horsburgh this week. So I'm seeing he's sold by like near 1% of people. Now Tamale. He's been sold by a few as well, coming off the 24. He could easily go back to a good score this week. Coming up against the Titans, we've seen him go 55, 47, and 52 in 3 weeks in a row. Some weeks he can score okay without, 2 weeks there he scored well without a try. But he's also a good opportunity of scoring this week against the Titans, who aren't incredible. So Tamale, I think, is a hold. Again, a similar situation. Are you going to be playing him in round 12? Are you potentially looking to upgrade him next week against the Warriors there? He's in that same bracket as Katonga and Yongi, but has been scoring better, averaging 40 for the season. So are you happy with a 40 or 50? You can get out of him in round 12. Yes, you could get a low score, but you could get a low score out of Teddy as well. We saw that a few weeks ago. So Tamale, a fine hold. Jenkins, similar situation as well, all the mid-rangers. Do you want to hold him to play in round 12 against the Knights? He will be on the wing or in the centres in that week, with To'o will be out. The team might not be great. Does he take over and get some more footy? How does it work? Does he just get a 20 or 25? Potentially. So do you want to hold through that this week in the bye, use him as a loop, and then play him next week or loop him the following week? Up to you on that one. With Jenko. And yeah, it's probably not much else to say. He's a mid-range guy that could potentially do okay. Definitely will start in a couple of weeks, but he also had some bad starts before that 70 as well. Now, Leo Thompson, I have as a clear hold, guys. He's 618k coming off some delayed concussion symptoms following that, Tino and whoever, Mo Fodawaker or whatever that tackle was. Unfortunately, reeled away from that one, kept playing, but yeah, has developed some symptoms. So really with Leo, the hope there is that it's just a 1 week thing and he'll miss this week and he'll be back for the round 12 clash against Penrith. Was scoring really well up until the weekend, got less minutes, potentially because of that knock. That also means guys like Daniel Saifidi might play more minutes this week, but I think Leo, a very clear hold this week, was scoring great before that low one and deserves a chance in your side, I think, as a hold. Now, Sandon Smith, I'm seeing him on the sell list about 0.7% down. Look, he's coming off maybe because it's a -2 there, but he was scoring really well before that. He's back this week. It is against the Dogs, and if you're not playing him in round 12 or planning not to, and you're happy with like Savala or Katoa, Fogarty, Hines, whoever you got there, then I understand it. But maybe do you have other sells that you could move on from before Sandon? If you don't, then I understand it as well. I definitely would sell Adam Dewey before all of these guys. Unfortunately, back to centre, 29 and 16. If he continues to score poor, he will lose more cash. And this has been that little bit of a punt that didn't work out. Scored pretty well at the start of the year too, at centre, and then had that one good game there, 52 against the Sharkies. But since then, not much ball at all. 34 metres with that try for 29, and then 85 metres last game with 5 tackles against the Storm. Pretty wild there, but that's 64-0 for you. I think he's the sell before those other guys. Start for Toa. Could easily be held this week at 517k. Just you can make that decision with him. He's overall sell, missing 12 and 15. Not someone you're really going to play come 13 or 16 or even 18. I don't think you're holding him that far. has been really good, averaging 44. So he's not a clear guy to move on from. He's playing against the Bunnies this week as well. So it could be a bounce back week for the Tigers. And he's a good little addition to the side. I think there's a good chance I hold him this week, but not someone I want in my team long term. Dylan Edwards, this one's tough. He's under 600k, has the bye this week, a good chance of playing Origin. Even if he doesn't, yes, he's there for next week, but he misses 15 and 18 anyway, and just isn't scoring very well. 36, 27, 32 in 90 minutes as well. Very, very rough for him. He's not getting involved in much attack. I wonder if they do pick him in Origin. It's going to be very, very interesting and very fun to find out who is going to get that one jersey, whether it's him, Teddy, or even potentially Pappenhausen. But yeah, I agree with him being a sell. Congrats to Matty, who did sell this week there in the end. Just wouldn't have been happy with the injury, the little injury he sustained, but came back and thankfully played the good minutes. Just not looking himself there apart from that one game in round 7 against the Roosters where he dominated. Now, guys, that's the hold and sell for round 11. Make sure you do check out the description, guys, for the free public Facebook group, and also $30 if you want to jump into the private group as well, where there's almost 400 people. We've got first overall at the moment, Jakey Van absolutely crushing, and 7th overall in Andrew, with 7 people in the top 100. So we're flying in there at the moment. The advice is killing it. Everyone's helping each other. It's a great community. So have a look at that one, jump on in, and we'll see you in the next few videos. We've got time. Yeah, you'll see, you'll just seen Scoop's video, my best buys video. I was going to say best boys video, bro. And also a few more to come over the next day or two before our Friday night games. So thanks for that, guys. We'll catch you in that next video as always.